And we are back for even more stuff happening in the news. I say this every single time, but somehow there's news. Preston, there's news. Somehow.
Oh, no, okay. There's news. I mean, has someone AI generated George at cons now? Is he now just a walking AI generation, projected, and then like AI just kind of like produces the answers to stuff, you know?
You know what? He might as well do that, and I'll tell you why. Because I hate that you brought this up, but it's true, and this is something even people... So, okay, let me real quick, because you brought this up. I wasn't actually going to go into this. So in the past 90 days, George R. R. Martin has visited 4 cons. He went to WorldCon, Bubonic Con, New York City Comic Con, and now Icelandic Noir, which is this con in Iceland.
By the way, that one is kind of like... I mean... That has nothing to do with his writing style, but I mean, but okay. I mean, he's had a few short stories that you could say maybe border noir, but it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny that he decides to go to that one, but okay, yes.
So at WorldCon, New York City Comic Con, and Icelandic Con, I know people who went to those, and. Yes. I couldn't find anyone who went to Bubonic Con, but it sounds like he just did the same thing he did at the other 3, which is basically what I call the greatest hits. Him telling about his childhood, his thoughts about writing, his thoughts about Gandalf, and how Gandalf should have stayed dead. You all know this. In fact, the people who went, one of the people who went was this woman who runs this Discord server. She was very nice. She gave George a gift. I shouted her out in my WorldCon video, and even she said that a lot of the stuff that George talked about, she's heard it before. Someone who reached out to me who went to the Icelandic Con a couple days ago with him, again, he said the same thing she did months ago. They've all heard it before. So I love George, I do, he's my boy, but at the same time, at this point, you could pretty much just record him saying something from like a couple years ago and just, play it on repeat, because that's basically what he's doing. He's not giving us anything new. He's just regurgitating every single thing we've heard before.
I want to know about Aragorn's tax policy. We've heard a lot of these. Yes, I mean it's safe. It's it gets the chuckles. It's like doing a tried and true comedy routine or something. So that was a little bit of my joke there. But
regardless, what's in the news? Well, the AI Feast for Crows saga continues. Now, I've really hesitated to even put out a video on this for 2 reasons. The first is I don't want to milk this. I know some people are saying like, "Come on, Carmine, you're milking it," but every time I do a video, there's a new update. I've been waiting for George to, comment on all this whole thing, but I've spoken to a couple of people, one who was close to George, I'm sure you guys can guess who, and even he said, George will most likely not comment on this. So I was waiting for George to comment, but I guess he won't. The newest update...
Yeah, he's not going to, no.
Well, the newest update from a couple of days ago is that the artist, Jeffrey MacDonald, put out his process for how he created the art for the Feast for Crows Illustrated Edition. And this motherfucker, the second thing that's making me hesitate is what he posted at the very, very end, which is... All works within this article, including sketches, are copyright protected by Penguin Random House and Jeffrey R. MacDonald. This article cannot be shared, published, or copied in any way without express written permission. So basically, if I show his process in a video, he could come after me for that and fuck with me. Fuck him for that, but also... I can't blame him too much. So if you guys go to jeffreymacdonald.com/process, you can see the process he utilized for his AI sketches, which, okay, fine. I think the excuses he's giving here are shoddy at best, but okay. He's using a lot of inspirations from other pieces and other symbols and poses from other things and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean he does a lot of tracing over, painting over techniques to speed up the process. He'll find a similar picture and then kind of trace paint, do everything over it. And keep in mind this is on a computer, so the tracing over and painting over and repurposing previous art is easier than say if you're just with a piece of paper. It's funny going through his process because it's almost like he is an AI, like averaging and taking other pieces of art and merging them together to create his own art.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange. It's not what I've thought. It's not what I've like from the beginning, someone sitting down and like beginning to draw a piece of art and doing doing balloons for body parts and then filling in and the things when you see people, compose something. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though. Regardless of what his process is, it still doesn't answer several things. One of which is that he clearly, and this is, again, I've said this in previous videos, whether he used AI or not doesn't matter. He quite clearly did not read A Feast for Crows. And he quite clearly did not do some of these backgrounds or the coloring. I don't believe he did the coloring for most of them. For some of them, sure, maybe he did the background for some, but I firmly believe that the color and the backgrounds were AI generated. Whether by him or Penguin Random House, I do not know. This is a black mark on the series right now, in my opinion, that Penguin Random House was allowed to get away with this, basically, and they pretty much are going to get away with it. Of course, the thing is being review bombed on Amazon and so on and so forth, and I'm sure it's not really selling that well, but...
Well, I mean, the thing is was it going to really sell that well? I don't know how, like, books are dead to begin with. Not that... the publishing is dying. This is just reprinting stuff, hoping that someone, that some collector, that people in their collection ideas like just go and pick it up. I mean, this used to happen all the time with like comic books where we've published 5 different colors, collect them all, and then people are like, I guess I've got to collect them all. I fucking did that I have 5 versions of fucking X-Men #1. Okay, so I was a fucking sucker too. But yeah, it's essentially exploiting people like that, like people that are like, oh yeah, I need to collect them all.
So I was debating whether or not, because I still have to put out my final video on this whole thing, and I was really just waiting for George to put out a statement, but I guess he didn't.
I don't think he's going to do that.
No, right, of course. But I was debating whether or not I should put this information in, because I did talk to someone who works for Penguin Random House, and one of the things I asked was the company, because I was really curious, was the company kind of worried about releasing an illustrated edition off-season? Because the last illustrated edition, Storm of Swords, was released in 2020. And in 2020, even though Game of Thrones was done, and the reception to the show at that point was not that great, it was COVID. And COVID always throws a monkey wrench into a lot of things. Right now, you're seeing a lot of tech companies firing and laying off people. That's because they hired them all when fucking COVID was ongoing, because everyone was at home indulging in streaming and video games and movies and I'm sure books as well. So I'm sure the Storm of Swords Illustrated Edition was probably sold decently because, people were home. Like, what else were they going to do? Let's reread a Storm of Swords. Fuck it. Right? And Rise of the Dragon, or Fire and Blood, came out in 2018. There was no Game of Thrones in 2018, but because they took a break, but that was still Game of Thrones season. We were hot off the presses of Game of Thrones. Even though season 7, in hindsight, was whatever, like, people were still hyped for the show. So Fire and Blood was new. It was new content after, 8 years? There it is. Rise of the Dragon came out right around the end of season 2. It came out last year, right around the end of season 2, House of the Dragon, and it still sold, I'm sure, fairly decently. So this is going to be one of the books that no one really likes that much, because Feast doesn't get that much love, and it was being released in an off year. So, of course, I asked this person, does releasing in the same year as any type of Game of Thrones or Thrones spin-off show coming out. Does that help? And they said, yeah, of course it does. It almost as if it reminds people that, hey, this exists. You should buy this again if you don't have it already. So it does help. Releasing A Feast for Crows, unfortunately, at a point where there was no Game of Thrones or anything Game of Thrones related that year, was always going to hurt it regardless.
Of course. It's back in people's minds. They want to pick up the books again and stuff like that.